You've probably come across this video, or this, or this. This is what schools don't teach, the culture of hazing. Hazing exists everywhere, in schools and even in the workplace.
If you're a newcomer and your seniors or your colleagues ask you to drink, you can say no, but technically you can't also lah. There's a kind of social influence all in the name of culture fit and fitting in.
To me, it was all in the name of fun. That's why I didn't take the experience too negatively. But I admit I was a bit shocked at first, but maybe because it was my first time. One incident that came to mind was when I was in school and we played this game called Secret Partner. Throughout this activity, we felt like we were low-key humiliating ourselves. So we did things like reciting a script, and we will refer to our dick sizes.
Different people have different tolerance levels, and for me, that camp was very physically tiring. There weren't any sexual cheers or any things that we have to do out of our comfort zone. But I thought it was quite fun, even though some people found it quite tiring for them.
It made us feel like we achieved something great together, and I felt like they became my first family in school, and it's all because we had this shared experience together.
That sentiment is shared in this article by BBC. In fact, many who partook in those activities may not even see themselves as being hazed. More recently,
was sentenced to 10 weeks jail for their roles in a fatal ragging incident.
Police are investigating Ngee Ann Polytechnic students for harassment in a suspected hazing ritual.
There was a lot of talk about how the boys consented and whatnot, but I think maybe they just didn't want to come across as being weak or a wet blanket. That's why they let the hazers do whatever they want. So I feel the important thing to note is that the conduct of these activities is wrong whether or not a consent is given.
The seniors and superiors probably came in with their own culture and traditions, and as subsequent batches came in, they were also expected to uphold those same traditions lah. And I think over time it becomes mindless, and it creates this oh, I went through it so you have to go through it too kind of culture, which in this case had very obvious implications like someone died even after he said he didn't want to do it. When people go overboard with no rules and boundaries in place, it creates this situation where an abuse of power might happen and people's concerns are not being taken seriously.
And you can't blame the freshmen for trying to go out of their way and just to please the seniors to be well liked. I mean, everyone wants to be well liked. And looking back, it sounds so immature and superficial to some extent. And I guess now we all know the true power of her mentality and peer pressure.
Sometimes the seniors can be a bit forceful, even though people say that they don't want to do it, and the seniors will try and force and say things like, hey, do it leh, and they say that it's all in the name of bonding. The bigger, more extreme cases are actually usually reported in the news, but the smaller ones are gone unnoticed because people are afraid of the social repercussions of being labelled as a snitch. With hazing, it's really subjective, and it has to do a lot with people reading.
even if there was no malicious intent, safety and boundaries need to be placed first in traditional hazing activities. When compromised, anything bad could happen.
They made us do the different sex positions, and I was so shocked because that was my first few camps, right? And then it was really a culture shock. So I kind of left the camp early, and then I remember when I left early, I just cried at the side because I was so uncomfortable, and I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to about it, because I think there were a few people that felt the same way, but most of them were really enjoying the camp, or they were just not voicing out those things. You will feel like you don't really have a chance to say anything, and only after the activity is over, then you get to voice out. But by then it's already too late because everybody has already done things that they're not comfortable with.
So, where does the line for these activities get drawn? There are certain things we cannot tolerate. Remember this from earlier on? One way or another, we've all experienced hazing. But
the most important thing is to give people the option to sit out without the fear of public humiliation or backlash, because everyone's tolerance levels are different, and no means no.